Live streamed. It's official. We are live. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Rise and Grind Real Estate Mastermind. So excited today. We have Randy Tobbe on. He is the former director of business development for Lion Desk, and he is going to drop some fire, as he just said, for us all today. So Randy, he doesn't have a slideshow. He's just going to talk to us, but we're all good with that. So Randy, go ahead. Take on over.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you guys for having me. So like Nicole said, for those of you guys who don't know, I was the former director of business development for Lion Desk, and now I decided to leave Lion Desk after we were acquired by Lone Wolf, and now I'm just kind of working with agents and brokerages. But my background is over 10 years in real estate technology. I've worked with hundreds of thousands of agents over the last 10 plus years. I've worked with major brokerages, franchises, and really what I did best is actually bridge the gap between the tech world and the agent world and how to implement the most successful strategies. So I was around all the tech companies, I was around the top producers, and I got to see firsthand the successes and the failures that they were having. So today, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is what I think is a superpower right now. It's one of the best opportunities. It's not hard to do. Anybody can do this. It does not matter. But ultimately, this will be ROI positive for all of you guys. And a lot of the stuff that we're going to go over, you guys might already be doing. So my recommendation is take the little nuggets, that you're going to learn here, get a pen and paper, write down the information that's valuable that you could implement, because there's nothing here today that I'm going to give you that is going to take a tremendous amount of time, but it could have little incremental improvements to your overall success of your business. So what we're going to talk about today is the number one way to engage your audience and outperform your competition. So today, what you're going to learn is how to communicate with more people in less time, how to break through the barrier of those unresponsive leads, and utilize one of the most underutilized strategies and gain a ton of referrals. Again, my name is Randy Tobbe. We already talked about that stuff. I'm a dad. I'm Kelly's fiance. Kelly's my fiance. I love doing action sports and things like that, and I like eating good food, for those of you guys who don't know. So what is the challenge? The number one challenge is organization. Again, we had over 160 some thousand users on our CRM platform. And all of the people at one point or another had one of these issues. One, data in too many places. So all of your information is spread out amongst multiple platforms. It's not centrally located. It takes too long to find out this information, and then not using and utilizing the right technologies for the job. The next challenge is just not enough time. So number one, organization. Number two, not enough time, right? Most agents have inconsistent follow-up. Very few agents are following up consistently, and this is preventing them from moving forward with their business. They're neglecting their sphere of influence in past customers, when according to NAR, over 75% of the business that agents get today comes from one of these two sources. If this is true, why are so few agents actually following up with these two areas? And then last but not least is just feeling run down every day. You guys are chasing cats, you're running around, right? And I understand that your counselors, your home inspectors, right? You're doing all kinds of different things in order to sell a house, right? It's not just about, let me show you this listing. I know you guys got a lot of stuff, which slowly erodes that time that you guys currently have. The third problem is just forgetting, right? Forgetting important tasks. I don't know about you guys. I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of this today, even in my household, right? Somebody says, hey, do this in 3 days, or follow up with me in 30 days, right? And then we forget to do that. That's a missed opportunity. When somebody says, I'm going on vacation to Traverse City this weekend, would you mind following up with me next Thursday? If you forget to follow up, you missed an opportunity, and your customer or prospect might already be like, they can't even follow up with me on time, right? Like, you don't look that good. So forgetting is a big problem. not having a roadmap, and then not leveraging the technology in order to make you do that. And last but not least, is number 4, an inconsistent pipeline. Letting leads fall through the cracks are something that you absolutely should not do. If you're looking to increase your GCI 1, 5, 10, 20, 50%, this is an area that needs to be improved. You can't let this stuff fall between the cracks. A lot of people are always looking, where's my next deal coming from? This is all relative to having an inconsistent pipeline. If you're sitting there asking yourself, like, where are my deals coming from? I don't know. As soon as I close this one out, I got to go chase the bus again. You're not running the business the way that it should be run. Next is the peaks and valleys in your pipeline versus consistency. Having a predictable business is way easier, and it's a lot less stressful on you as a business owner if you know what your pipeline looks like and it's consistently building, because then you can scale. You could hire that assistant, that buyer's agent, etc. And if you don't have systems in place to do these things, you're not necessarily a business owner. You're kind of a hobbyist in the grand scheme of things, according to the major publications in the real estate space, right? So these are all problems that everyday agents are faced, and you're not going to solve any one of these today, but you're going to start to chisel away at these things, and you can have a really, really good business moving forward. So do you guys all agree that these are problems that most people are faced with in one way or another? I mean, a lot of it could be, even if you're a successful agent, forgetting to follow up and not having systems in place. Like, business and life is all about levels, right? And once you learn how to win that level, then you have it. And then it's about getting to the next, right? It's a building block process. It's a process. It's not something that's going to come overnight. So hopefully those things resonate with you, but don't worry. I'm going to cover a lot of these things today. And ultimately, technology is the answer. Right? You can have it all. You can do all of these things if you implement the right technologies. And technology was designed and is designed to and for you to delegate, right? Henry Ford did not create the automobile. Henry Ford created the assembly line, which allowed mass production of the automobile here in Metro Detroit, so that anybody could afford it, right? He literally leveraged a process and partial technology in order to do that. You guys have way more tools. You have a supercomputer in your back pocket that allows you to do just about anything. So if you're not utilizing modernized technology, you're totally missing the actual opportunity and what this stuff is designed for. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, another thing that I have to learn, right? But yeah, like I wasn't born learning how to drive a car, right? Like you learn these things, everything and where we're at in life, we have to learn. And if you spend the time and you invest that time, it's not going to take away, it's not going to negatively impact you, especially if you implement it. So make sure that you guys are delegating to tech. And tech has come a long way. The days of the old clunky stuff are slowly going away. More platforms are integrating, more things are being connected. So this isn't the days of the David Hasselhoff driving around his Kip, right? That was like Knight Rider. Like it's come a little bit further than that, and technology is here to say it's going to save you. So one of the major things that we're going to talk about today is texting, right? 9 out of 10 people today prefer to text with a business or person versus any other form of communication. Are you all capitalizing on SMS and texting capabilities today, multiple times throughout the day? Right? I'm sure a lot of you guys, when you're going back and forth with the buyer, seller, or listing agent, you're doing that. But are you utilizing SMS or texting from the standpoint of, I am going to go out and get the business. I am going to make an impact on my database. I am just going to bring some value to some people that I haven't talked to in a while. These are all the things that SMS can actually solve. So why is texting so important? Why is it the number one thing right now? Well, first of all, it has a 98% open rate. SMS text messages has a 97% open rate. How many of you guys here today have a bunch of unread emails? Right? How many of you have a bunch of unread text messages? Not very many of us, right? The effectiveness of SMS is incredible. Most text messages are read within the first 10 seconds of delivery. Even when you're on a call like this, you pick it up, you see that one sentence or two sentences, people are reading these text messages, and not going to last forever, but for the time being, you need to capitalize on it. Everybody text messages. I think 90% of America, I'm going to assume, maybe 95% of people text message. Our grandparents do it, our doctors do it. People are like, oh, well, my clients don't do that. Yeah, they do. Everybody's text messaging for the most part. I have, my parents are not the most technically savvy people, right? When I turn on the power to the TV, sometimes they think that I did wizardry magic, but they can still text message, and this is how we communicate. So I think everybody understands the importance of it. Response is 10 times greater than email. So the actual people that are responding to your text messages, you're going to have a 10 times greater response rate with SMS than you ever will with email. So if any of you guys are out there and you're trying to craft all of this amazing email stuff, right? You're spending a lot of time to get a very, very small response rate, when you could actually increase your response rates 10, 20, 30% if you did less of that and more of this. So the days of your email newsletters and all of that stuff, like, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work. It does to some extent. But if you're looking for what's called direct response type of communication, utilize SMS, right? Those newsletters, the market updates, that stuff will come, and that's just to continue building brand. But if you're looking to talk to somebody about, hey, here's a great example. Send out a text message to 10 people and be like, hey, let's connect over the next couple of weeks. I'd love to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you and just talk to you about your real estate goals over the next 12 to 24 months, right? That sending that text message is saying, hey, let's just connect, let's have coffee. You're not asking them if they're looking to buy or sell today or tomorrow. You're talking about their real estate goals over the next 12 to 24 months. People would be a little bit more apt to have a conversation with you, especially if you can bring some knowledge about some of the new rules that are going to be changing, what's going on with the market. Is it going to slide down? Is it going to continue up? Are they looking to get an investment property, take advantage of the equity that they currently have, right? You can do this all with SMS. So who should you be texting? And you guys should probably write this down. This is very, very important. Number one, your sphere of influence. Number two, your past customers. Number three, your new leads. Number four, your old leads. And number five, other agents, right? These are people you should be texting weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, right? And you should be doing this every 30, 60, 90 days. You should absolutely be texting all of these categories. And if you're not doing one, just start with one. Sphere of influence is going to have a tremendous ROI for you guys. So I would start there. And you guys already have built trust with these people. They like you. They might have worked with you. They know you, that your kids play together, etc. Reach out, right? So from there, how often should you be texting those categories? Your sphere of influence, you should be texting monthly. And I think we sent like 15 or 20 million text messages over the course of 3 years, something like that. It's crazy. We have and had the statistical data on this stuff and what worked the best. So the information that I'm giving to you is based upon hundreds and hundreds of thousands of leads and millions of text messages. But your sphere of influence, you should be texting monthly. Your past customers, you should be texting quarterly. Your new leads, you should be texting daily. Your old leads should be weekly, and other agents monthly, every 60 days or so, right? Just especially for this team, right? You guys are, EXP. So, texting other agents, just checking in. Hey, how you doing? I closed a deal with you last month. Just want to see how things going. What do you think about the market? Just have a conversation, right? Conversation creates connections, right? And you guys need more of those. So again, sphere of influence monthly, past customers quarterly, new leads daily, old leads weekly, and other agents monthly. Any questions about any of that stuff?
It's going fast. Randy, you're going fast. So I am typing this out into the chat too. So if anybody needs to go back to review, it's going to be in the chat.
Right. So let's just talk real quick, and I might cover this in a few minutes, but like past customers, you helped somebody make the largest financial decision that most humans make today. We can all agree, right? This is what you guys do. You make people's dreams come true. You create the environment in which families are developed. Why would you not? You help somebody so much, reach out to them to check in with them, to turn them into raving advocates and fans of you, so that anytime somebody says real estate, they be like, you got to call my girl Nicole, or you got to call Dave, right? Like, if you're not doing that, you're missing out on, again, you spend all of this time and energy to work and to do all the things that you do to help that person, and then you just abandon them. So at the very least, you should be texting your past customers twice a year. Set yourself a task reminder. You can do it in your Google phone, right? Or your Apple phone. Set a reoccurring task that reminds you every year to follow up with Kristen. It's their housing anniversary. So you're going to get a reminder on your phone, follow up with Kristen. Hopefully you remember something about Kristen or the property or something. How easy is it for you to say, Kristen, oh my God, I can't believe it's been a year since you closed on 123 Main. I know that you were talking about renovating that pink bathroom that was done in 1947. Do you have any pics? Did you ever wind up doing that? Right? Your job is to create a conversation, right? Like, that is such a lot of people are like, well, what do I say? I feel weird, like, I don't know. That's what you say, right? Stuff like that. Or around the holidays, if you get to meet their family and things like that, hey, just wanted to reach out. How's everything been going, right? We're coming out of COVID #1, going into COVID 2, were you able to get out and go to a couple of restaurants this summer? Like, there's little things that you can do to bring value, that you actually care, to reconnect with these people. And I promise you, if you do that 4 times a year, you are going to stay top of mind when it comes to real estate. So if you do reach out in another 6 months, be like, hey, you know anybody that's thinking about buying or selling or looking for an investment property? You're probably a little bit more likely to get a referral than if you just randomly reach out 18 months later because you watched a Tom Ferry video and he says, get referrals from your past customers. It's about building rapport and trust and connection with people. And text messages are one of the easiest ways that you can do that. Another reason to text people: birthdays, important follow-ups. Coming back from Traverse on Monday, give me a follow-up next week, or follow up with me, when my kids go back to school. Invites to meet up, mentioning important emails that you might have sent. If you did a beautiful video or have an incredible newsletter that you want somebody to open or to pay attention to, let them know. So the filters in our phones are getting worse and worse. So it's getting harder and harder to get people's attention in email, because the filters are automatically picking up. And I guarantee that everybody here does not read their own email or read all of their emails. So if you brought some fire, you brought some awesome value on where to go to date night, in and around Canton or whatever, let them know. Send them a text message. Be like, hey, I just sent you a review of all the restaurants in Canton, who's fully open, where you can just get in, see some live music, have some cocktails, enjoy a date night out. I definitely recommend it. That's going to increase the probability of your emails, because now you're actually looking for it. So one small little text message, did you get my email? ? They're going to engage. They're going to check, right? Again, statistical data behind emails that are followed up with a text message have a tremendously bigger open rate overall. So something else I would recommend. So here is here's a couple examples. Cold leads, for example, one of the best text messages that we saw for those of you guys who have paid for leads in the past and you haven't followed up with them. This was the #1 thing that got people to respond. Is this insert name? Is this insert name ? right? So you got a lead. Yeah, they never connected with you. You didn't do anything with that lead for 6 months, and you just send out, is this so-and-so? Most people are going to be like, this is Randy, who is this? Or, well, who is this, right? It's very ambiguous. It's a little bit vague, but again, your job is to have conversations, start those conversations. So you, by creating curiosity in an old lead, might actually get somebody to respond, and maybe you can pick that up. Here's another one, motivational quotes, hi, Dave, a little Friday inspiration for you, right? And a motivational quote, right? Or holiday messages, right? Talking about Thanksgiving, or just direct messages, right? Here's one for a lender that I have. Hi, Dave, with interest rates nearing an all-time low, you might be wondering if now is a good time to refinance. Give me a call or a quick message for a mortgage analysis. Insert Dave, right? Like you can actually use call to actions when they're intended. So I can send you a little cheat sheet. Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to send you a little cheat sheet of who to send this to. Let's see here. Copy. Let me see if I can put this in here. I'm going to try something. Hold on a second, you guys. Now, Nicole, I'm going to send you like a little cheat sheet that you can send to everybody. So like who to send and when to send it. Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Okay.
And then we can post it in the Facebook group as well.
Cool. The conversion number from text to email is 30%. So if you lead with an email followed up with a text message, the actual data on that is 30%. Using text to connect with old leads. So when you're building a database, like what a lot of people do, and what sets apart the people that are just out there crushing it and those who aren't necessarily crushing it or quite where they want to be, is those who are following up with those old leads, right? When you build a database and you're lead generating, your job is to collect a first name, a last name, an email, and a phone, and to connect with them, right? When you buy leads from Zillow, as an example, 9 times out of 10, if they don't convert on like that very first email or call, people just give up on that, right? You paid $30 or $6 or $13, right? Depending on where you're located for each one of these leads. Heaven forbid, they don't just want to buy the first time that you call them. A lot of people are just looking. It is your job to create a relationship, to come off as the expert, to continuously be persistent on reaching out to that person, just trying to bring value to them. So if 1% of your Zillow leads are converting, but you're still building your database at, an additional 9% or 90%, all of those, as long as you got a real first name, last name, email, and phone number, at some time, they're going to become buyers. Real estate isn't transactional in the sense of buying a cup of coffee, which we do daily, right? I mean, the life cycle of buying a home is 3, 6, 9, 12 years, right? And on average, I think it's 7.5. So people just immediately throw out these leads that they're paying for, and they're like, oh, well, they're dead leads. They're not. It's up to you to continuously provide value. So if you are one of those people that have a database, that have old leads, and you're not consistently reaching out, who cares if they say F off or get lost or I'm not interested? You can remove those people, but you still got 80 people in your database that haven't yet. And again, if we know that the open rates are what they are and the response rates are what they are, play the odds. Some of the teams that I've worked with, and I mean, some of these guys are doing hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in transactions. One of my friends has what I think he's the #1 agent in Remax. He's just a monster down in Tennessee. And it's all about, he knows that he's going to scrap the business off the top. He's going to get that. But where he makes the majority of his money is continuously digging for gold in those old leads. And again, if you guys have them, and you got sphere of influence and past customers under control, that would be like the next area that I would recommend going with. The next important thing about texting is speed to lead. Speed to lead is very, very, very important. This is why Zillow created what they've created over the last couple of years, why Realtor.com bought OpCity, and why a lot of brokerages are moving to e-models or e-team models, is because you need to be fast on these responses, right? So when you are reaching out to people or people are responding to you, try to get to them as quickly as possible. Even if you're walking into a showing, be like, hey, Anna, I'm going to get back to you in 2 seconds. I'm just about to walk into a showing. Do you mind if I text you back in like 15 minutes? Speed to lead is more important than you think, because if you're not responding, somebody else is, right? If you're not responding and you're not reaching out to the leads, there's another agent right there picking up where you left off. We've all been in the situation where like you've been friends with this person forever and they use somebody else as a real estate agent, right? Like hopefully some of the things that we're talking about today can eliminate that. And again, just being consistent on that outreach can hopefully eliminate that. So this is all like manual stuff, right? A lot of this stuff that we're talking about, you kind of have to do onesie twosies, but there are technologies out there that will do a lot of this stuff for you. So at Lion Desk, we had a product called Gabby, which was, or Lead Assist, which was artificial intelligence that did the follow-up work for you. There are artificial intelligent type of SMS programs out there that will do a lot of this nurturing and follow-up for you. Maybe in one of the upcoming events, we'll invite one of my friends that owns one of these companies to speak for you guys, but these robots, if you will, are incredible, and they have real conversations on your behalf, and you can always pick up on that conversation. So if you have a big database or you're generating a lot of leads and you're not using AI, you're not leveraging technology the way that you should. And there's a lot of really good ones out there. And there's some really great thought leaders in this space that you guys should probably follow. Jesse Bowden is one of them. He's phenomenal in text messaging. Go to Facebook or Instagram, or Facebook, and Jesse Boudian. Go follow him. He is definitely one of the thought leaders when it comes to SMS, AI, and what you should be doing. He is a conversion king, and maybe we'll get him on here one time as well. Jesse's a good friend of mine. The next is bulk texting. So bulk texting allows you to text to multiple people. I don't think you can do this with KV Core. Lee, correct me if I'm wrong, but bulk text messaging allows you to grab a group of people. Let's just say your sphere of it or your past customers. And you could say, grab my sphere of influence. I want to send out a mass text to just say, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you have a great holiday season, et cetera, et cetera.
Randy, you can do that with KV Core.
So all of you guys who aren't doing text messaging consistently to your sphere of influence, here's a simple hack. You can reach out to your sphere of influence in about 3 minutes every month, right? Set a task reminder in your phone to text message your sphere of influence once a month. So every Tuesday or every other Tuesday or whatever your cadence happens to be. So you're going to get that reminder to follow up with your sphere. Then you're going to think of something of what's happening locally, right? More than likely, depending on how you have your list segmented. And then you're going to reach out to those people in bulk. So instead of you sending out 100 individual personalized text messages, you're going to do something that's value add that canvasses the entire database or the entire list segment that you're actually reaching out to, right? So every month you're going to get that text message reminder. So maybe you have your past customers set up by city, right? Brighton, Canton, Westland, Ann Arbor. All you have to do is grab the list of Brighton saying, hey, next weekend they're having a street festival. Are you guys planning on going? Because we're thinking that we're going to go. There's going to be a bunch of great food, right? Hope to see you there, right? People of Ann Arbor. Hey, have you seen the changes to the U of M tailgating rules? If for all my U of M friends out there, hopefully that this is helpful, right? That allows you to literally send one text message to multiple people, reducing the amount of time that it would normally take for you guys to do that. When sending bulk text messages, Try not to include a bunch of links. Try to avoid images as well. Okay. And if you have a program that allows you to do video texting, I would highly recommend doing video texting over standardized texting, right? When you do a video text, it comes across as a video. People connect with people, right? They're going to remember you more, your face, you're a realtor, right? The more that you can get your face in front of people, the better. As my job is doing business development, or my job doing business development for LionDesk, I did so many, 95% of my meetings were all on Zoom or face-to-face. And it was a reason, because people remember faces. They remember, they connect more than just doing a blind-faced email or phone call, right? So anytime you have the opportunity to put your face in front of them, I highly recommend doing it. This is why realtors have been doing glamour shots for 50 years, right? This is why they've been putting their faces, like it's one of the only industries that they just plaster their face all over billboards and their business cards, even though they don't look anything like that, right? Like a lot of the realtors, it's kind of like realtors have been using filters far longer than TikTok and Instagram. I can promise you that, right? I've been to enough conferences. So, and just get ready for the replies. Bulk texting is money. Quick warning. Do not buy lists. Do not buy lists and send these bulk text messages. When you get somebody like a lead or whatever, right? You have somewhat of documentation allowing you to actually text message. I've seen it time and time again where people just buy these massive lists and then they start text messaging people. That is wrong. It's not compliant under the TCPA rules and regulations, which is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. If you do this, you are susceptible to a $10,000 fine per offense, not complaint. So if the FCC ever came in and did, I think it's the FCC, came in and did an audit, they could say, oh, you sent out 1,000 text messages, we're going to give you $10,000 fine per 1,000 messages, right? This is if somebody complains and they actually are pissed off. So my recommendation is just don't buy lists. Like if you generate leads on Zillow or Realtor.com or your website or people you come in contact with, sporting events, etc., no problem. Just don't buy lists. And don't spam people either. Like that's another thing. Like don't rifle off text to them all day long every day. That gets annoying as hell. So keep it value, keep it simple, keep it to a sentence or 2 or 3 or 4. The only body that doesn't have to obey those rules is the government. You know, that's why in the last election, everybody probably got 300 text messages about every political campaign, even though you didn't opt into any of them. So they don't play by the same rules, but you know, that's another conversation. Let's see here. Definitely reach out to your appraisers, referral partners, ancillary services that you offer up as well, moving services, bricklayer, roofers, etc., right? Put them into a database as well and reach out to them, right? Continue to evolve that relationship, because a lot of those people come in contact with people, and the people that you connect with the most is who you're going to get the referrals from. So if you're only reaching out to them to give them a roof, you know, every 90 days, like that needs to be a two-way street. So continue to work those relationships so that they could start to refer you business. So again, if you're sending 4 roof jobs to Franco and he's doing these 4 roof jobs a year, which are anywhere from 10 to 20,000 with a 30% margin, you know, you're making him probably an extra $40,000, $50,000 a year. Like you want that relationship to be two-way. So hopefully by continuously galvanizing that relationship with SMSs, it's just a really simple way for them to maybe, if they do run across somebody, they send that referral your way. Any questions? Okay, so 4 easy bullet points here. Delegate to tech, right? Anything that you're doing, see if there's another way that you can do it without you having to do it, that you can deploy technology. This might require 6 hours worth of work. This might require 10 hours worth of work. But if it eliminates all the work that you have to do after that, that's a heck of a good investment. it will continuously yield for you guys, right? There are easy solutions out there. Like if you want to get a text messaging service, just Google it, SMS services. There are those available for you. A lot of the CRMs out there are providing it. Take advantage of that. It's not that hard. Again, it sucks a little bit to do this work in the beginning, but once you've built the robot, it will work for you. If you don't want to do it, go to Upwork or go to Fiverr and find somebody that will do it for $5 or $10 an hour for you. Again, you need to figure out what your highest and best use is of your time. Maybe doing this stuff just isn't you, right? But you got a database of 400 people and you know that it needs to get done. I guarantee there's somebody in the Philippines that'll do it for you for $5 an hour. Okay. So hiring somebody to run your tech, and maybe even you guys could all chip in together. Maybe you guys could find somebody that managed multiple databases and you could share in that cost. Use text messaging as your primary communication channel. I always recommended on outreach, 80, 20, 90, 10 minimum, all weighted heavily on SMS. It should all be text messaging. Again, not saying that your newsletters and all this other stuff don't work. It does. That's a branding play. It's something else. And when used with SMS, it's definitely going to be better, but it should be your primary communication channel. Not to mention, when you write an email, you look at the email that you wrote, and it could be 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs long, right? Maybe you did a newsletter on the restaurants or whatever, or a market update. That takes a lot of time and energy away from what you're doing. Text messages should only be 1 to 5, maybe 6 sentences. It doesn't have to be all that crazy. It's not really a lot of hard work. You don't have to think about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Throwing some emojis in there, smiley face, thumbs up, question mark, right? Heart, little hearts, things like that. Help it make it stand out a little bit. Like it should be your number one form of communication while you can do this, because I promise you, just like email, text messaging effectiveness will continuously go down over the years because marketers just kill all great marketing tools, right? And that's why every day there's new stuff. So if you're heavy on Instagram and heavy on Facebook, load up with some text messages. Like it's a game changer for most people. The problem is most people aren't addressing where they're spending their time and how they're working their databases when it's staring them right in the face. And I think that that's it, right? Like I'm going to leave you with this, and you can ask me any questions that you want, but we don't have a lead problem in this country. Zillow, Realtor.com, websites, like leads are plentiful. And there's 6.9 million homes traded last year. We have a follow-up problem. 9 out of 10 real estate agents are not following up at the cadence or what should be appropriate follow-up. I know you guys get really busy, but that is the number one challenge. And that ultimately is the number one thing that separates the people that are absolutely just crushing it and the people that are not. It's just consistent follow-up. And there's ways to automate that and help you guys set yourself apart from the rest. Because if you buy a Zillow lead, Dave, I'm going to use you as an example, right? Zillow is going to sell that lead potentially to 2 or 3 people, right? And we all know connecting with somebody on the first call doesn't always happen unless you're doing the live transfer stuff. Most of the agents that they sell that lead to, aside from you, fall off after the first call or text. Most people won't follow up a second time, let alone a third time, let alone a fourth time. The natural conversion on an online lead right now is 13 to 17 touch points. So if you just have something that's going to follow up with these people automatically for you, even if it's like, hey, are you there? You're like, just checking in, want to make sure that I'm serving you. If you just do it a second time or a third time, you're going to outproduce everybody else that spent $33 on that lead. Right? So playing it consistently, playing it for the long run, right? The marathon, not the sprint, is going to help you outpace or just outwin the deal ratio when it comes to somebody like Zillow or Realtor.com. And Zillow and Realtor.com are tracking this stuff. And I'm not going to say that I know this for a fact, but they're starting to weight their performance distribution based upon that, and based upon what Zillow is going to do over the next 5 years. It will only help you in the long run win more business from them. And that's it.
Yeah, and what I've always done with my leads when they come in is, and I'm not sure in the group who actually utilizes KV Core. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Is when my leads come in, obviously I talk with them on the phone, but then when I'm done, I automatically set them up for searches to come from me. I know they may be getting them from Zillow already, but I set them up with searches through my website that they get from my email. But you're absolutely right. The one thing I do not do is I do not follow up with them unless they reach out to me. And it's kind of been the business model that I've done up until recently, is I've just kind of been like, hey, when they want me, I'm here. But I've been hemorrhaging money on this stuff for a long time, and I got to start scaling back my expenditures and utilizing. I mean, I've got 2 years worth of a pretty healthy database that I could probably be utilizing, not to mention the sales that, I mean, I think I did 40 sales last year that those are 40 clients that I could be tapping into and getting more business from.
Right. So it's like, so Dave, a simple solution for that would utilize like a blended campaign over 12 months. So you go in and you create a 12-month campaign for them. And every 3 months, an automatic text message goes out saying, hey, what do you think of any of the listings? Anything interest you, ? And then you could layer in another 3 that would be like, hey, Dave here, XYZ, Dave, I've been sending you listing alerts, anything popping out at you, right? And then do another 3. So then you have a series of 9 or 12 that automatically go out for you automatically, that are just continuously nudging them, right?
Right. And that was kind of my beef with the system. Sorry to jump in there, but my beef with the systems was that all the automated ones that they would put in the systems always just seemed so, I don't know, not me, you know what I mean? And so I think a good point, I guess what I really need to do is go in and make them more like me, because they just sounded generic and they sounded salesy and they sounded whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, you can be generic and authentic at the same, like you can create these drip campaigns in these programs. Like after 30 days and after 60 days, let's just say 30 days, for an automatic text to go out, hey, Dave, it's Randy from XYZ Real Estate. What have you thought of some of the listings that I've been sending you? ? Right? Like, I mean, that's you, right? And then your next one that goes out 60 days later, be like, hey, no rush. Just want to let you know, like, if you need anything, I'm here for you. I'd love to help. Right.
Right.
The next one after that, like, hey, it's market's kind of a little crazy right now. Are you still considering buying or selling, in the next 6 months? You can do it in an authentic way, and you can programmatically set this up so that it's duplicatable. And Dave, to your point, so let's just say you have 100 leads in that database, and you have that sequence that's going out for those 100 people. Well, as Zillow continuously pushes leads into you, you already built the robot, right?
Right.
So then you just start the campaign for them. And every time it's a cycle, right? You want to create a flywheel effect in your business so that these things are happening. So as you continuously stuff in, yes, deals are pinging out, but then leads are being nurtured, conversations are being had, appointments are being set all the way around, right? When that when it's firing on all cylinders, like, then you're like, I need an assistant, I need a buyer's agent, I need somebody just to follow up, just to respond to my people, right?
Right.
And there's very small, low-hanging fruit opportunities for all of you guys to take advantage of to do this stuff.
Yeah, Randy, we've had a lot of luck with apology scripts, especially because a lot of times people haven't touched their database in a long time. So the text starts, hey, I apologize that that I feel like I haven't kept in contact with you properly, and then blah, blah, blah. You go right into the, are you still interested in buying a house this year? And that really seems to kick up a lot of interest. People like it when you kind of come back to
show
them.
that you're not perfect.
Correct.
Well, that works. You were just saying before, it works well for your past clients who you also haven't kept up on. So to be able to go back and say, hey, you know what? I am so sorry. Like what Randy was saying earlier about the home anniversary or something, but just to re-engage them to potentially get leads from them saying, or I should say referrals from them to say, hey, I know we haven't, I haven't been great. I haven't caught up with you. How's everything going at that house? How, did you do that bathroom renovation you talked about? And just kind of get the ball rolling again, which then could lead into, hey, we're going into fall, we're going in the end of the year. We expect rates to blah, blah, blah. Do you have anybody who's considering buying or selling in the near future that I could maybe help? And, trying to re-engage them, but also coming at it from a, hey, I'm so sorry that, I didn't forget about you, but, I haven't been great about keeping up.
The other thing is bringing value to people, right? Like for those of you who've read like jab, 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 right hook, right? Like a lot of times, like people, it seems like the only call to action that realtors have is like, you're looking to buy or sell, call me, right? Like try to bring more value to people, right? Like I see this all the time, call me, or it's like, even when you get the postcards from other agents at your house, right? Like the call to action sucks. Like it sucks. Make it different. Like, and you got to be creative. Like you guys should be collaborating as a team together and coming up with call to actions. Like a friend of mine who's a coach, he and I had a conversation about putting call to actions on everything. And the call to action shouldn't just be call me when you're looking to buy or sell. Like maybe they want something from you now, right? Maybe change it up completely and make things differently. And here's an example, right? So farming, right? If you're farming a neighborhood with postcards as an example, again, everybody else is like, call me. Like, why not do something more creative? Like sending something to a big neighborhood and saying, if you'd like a list of all the homes that have sold in the last 60 days in this sub, text me at, this number, right? Like, I'm sure a lot of people who might even be considering selling are curious what their neighbor that they don't like down the street that finally sold actually sold their house for, because they've been in their house longer and they bought it during the last crash. So if that person sold then, I'm probably sitting on some more, but they don't want to have a conversation with you yet, with Kristen yet.
Right. No, that's a
right?
good one.
They're just curious.
Go get my paper.
Or a text like, hey, if you'd like a list of all of the upcoming, like Kelly and I live in Brighton. If you'd like a list of all of the upcoming festivals that Brighton have, text me at this, right? They're still going to see Kelly EXP, right? But your call to action is just bringing value. Now you collect, and this is just from a farming database, right? So now you're starting to collect information on people and starting to build that rapport. So now that person texts that information, and you could have an autoresponder or a text to sell number, right? That gives them that deliverable. And then from there, what's Kelly's text message going to be after that? 3 days later, she's going to send out a text message to all the people in the sub that downloaded the festival report, hey, which one stood out to you? Planning on going to anyone? Oh yeah, thanks, by the way, or no, I haven't even looked at it. Like, then you have another reason to reach out. When people take action, you have the ability to have a reaction to them, right? And again, this is how conversations start to happen. So when you guys are doing things, think about call to actions on everything versus like looking to buy or sell, text me. Because like by that time, it's too late 9 out of 10 times. You got to get them 6 months before they're thinking about selling, or 3 months before they're thinking about buying. That's when you need to be there. And if it's the latter part, again, you're just skimming off the top, and really the fruit is below the line. So including call to actions are just wicked. And again, you guys have such an amazing group for you guys to collaborate on all the different call to actions, create a Google sheet, and then just put them in there and then steal each other's ideas. And then whoever gets results from that, just put in the data. I sent out this call to action via text message to 100 people. My response rate was X. My meeting or appointments was Y, and my conversion was Z.
I think a lot of times people they're just afraid to just text someone because they don't know, like their last contact with them, their last transaction with them, and that might not have been the best or whatever. And I just think that people just need to, just step outside of their comfort zone and just do it. I mean, so many people just don't do it because, and they don't even have a reason why they don't. I mean, they just lose confidence. And I think that's a big thing is just, and texting is so much easier than picking up the phone and calling. There's really no excuse for not doing it.
Yeah. Listen, if you can't take a no or F off or, some obscene picture being sent to you and deleting them and removing them from your database, you're in the wrong business. Period. Right? Because this business is not about the yeses. This business is about the no's. How many no's do I need to get in order to get the yes? Like, that's what it's about. And again, if you're bringing value, like for me to send Nicole a text message about like I know she has kids, about 3 upcoming events in downtown Brighton, as an example, that are kid friendly, is she really going to send me some bullshit back? Probably not, So now if you're like, are you looking to buy or sell? Are you looking to buy or sell? Yeah, you might. But if you lead with value to people, I think that it's like, who in their right mind would like say F off, right, to something like that? If you're doing that daily or weekly, maybe that might be a little aggressive, but for once a month, something like that, like, you guys should not be afraid of that. And yes, Lee, you're right. Calling is way more intimidating. Like, first of all, you got to figure out if you're even getting to them, and then we all know, like, nobody likes to answer their phones anymore. You're like, no, just text me. So this is a way to be subtle, where I think that you eliminate that hesitation that so many agents have around outreach. Buy or die, right? If somebody's pissed at you, get them off your database, get them out of there. All they're going to be is a problem. And when you see it come by, regardless to what it is, might drop your stomach a little bit. Oh, well, you don't, like, how close, it's not like it's your aunt, like it's your ex-girlfriend that somehow got into your database that said F off, like, get them out of there anyway.
And this would be an exercise that I'm going to do it as soon as we get off this call, but I'm just going to go into, and I don't know how everybody classifies their stuff if you're using KV Core, but if somebody's non-responsive to my emails and text early on, then I just dump them into my prospect bin and I automatically run searches for them. So they're still getting emails. So they'll see my face all the time, but I just put them in prospect so I don't bother them. But what I'm going to do when we get off this call is I'm going to go into my prospect bin and I'm going to probably grab a couple hundred of those, check them, and I'm just going to send out a text, just a quick general text. I think an apology text is probably going to be the best way. Hey, sorry, I haven't kept in touch. Just thought I'd reach back out and see if there's anything I can help you with. Or something to that effect. I'll think about it a little bit more. But the point is, I was going to say is everybody in here that uses KV Core should probably go do something just like that too. I mean, we all use KV Core, right? I'm assuming most of us. So
I don't know. I have a quick question for you, Randy. So for instance, I had a client, she came to me, I believe she may have been from Zillow. I haven't used Zillow in a long time, but I think she may have come to me from Zillow. I showed her a couple houses. She kind of fell off. I've texted her. She came up, she just popped up. She's still getting my emails and I can see that she's opening emails. So I noticed she was looking at emails. I went to reach out to her to text her and I look back and I've messaged her probably 6 or 7 times with no response. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to text her. Am I blocked? So then I start getting in my head, what do you think is the best way? My thought was I'll email her, but then I was like, I don't know, and I haven't done anything. So what would your suggestion be for somebody who I've texted multiple times and it's been personal? Like I knew her mom was having some health issues. So I said, hey, hope everything's going okay with your mom. Do you have any updates, or something like that? And just, I noticed you were looking at some houses. Is there anything coming up? She did respond once about not buying yet because she's afraid the market was going to crash. This was last year. I followed up a couple more times and I've gotten nothing. So what's your suggestion?
Yeah. Cleaning out my closet text message, which is, hey, and you can do this to 10 people or bulk people, right? Whatever. Hey, it's Nicole. I'm just going through my database, removing people that really aren't that interested in receiving information from me. If you are interested, if you're still interested, just respond yes. And if you're not interested, respond no, and I'll completely remove you from all of my stuff, right? So basically it's like, shit or get off. Do you want to stay connected with me, or do you not want to stay connected with you, right? Because all they're doing is wasting your time, Nicole, right? Because it takes mental space to think about it. What are you going to say, right? Like, how long are you going to do that? So something like that, or some type of guilt text of, hey, I don't know if you're getting these. I don't want to be a nuisance. If you no longer want these, like, just let me know and I'll just completely stop texting you. It's totally okay, right? So you're kind of like pushing it off on them. And then from there, you might be able to get a better response because, maybe they have been getting it, but they're just not ready. And like, yes, keep sending that stuff to me. I'm just not ready yet.
Right.
So
And I don't want to just stop because, we had a great, vibe when we were looking at houses. And then when she kind of held off, and I'm fine with her holding off. I just don't want to lose her completely if she's just not ready or the market scared her.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could just send her text messages that are strictly personal to try to reconnect on that level, and then just play the long game where you just say, hey, how's things going with your mom? Try to kick around a different kind of ball for a little while before you go back into the sales.
I mean, my last time I messaged her, it went from October to December to July. So it's been like, it was 7 months and now we're in August. And the last time what I sent to her was, hey, Tiffany, it's Nicole at EXP. I wanted to check in with you because I've been seeing you look at some homes and I'm just wondering if you're still interested in buying a home this year. Nothing. I've messaged her before about checking in. Hey, just checking in and see how things are going with your mom, see how you're doing. So that's kind of like, I like the idea of like, hey, are you still interested in getting these homes sent to you? If not, cool, let me know. I'm just opening them.
I'm just cleaning up my database, right? Like that's what I'm doing right now. I just want to let you know, like, I think that that's a great way to do it. Like the other thing, when you have a CRM and whether you're using LionDesk, right? I still have much love for LionDesk, KV Core, Follow Up Boss, right? Whatever the case may be. Like all of your CRMs allow you to tag people, right? So list segmentation is one of the most important things that you can do. And the more refined you can get on list segmentation, the more impactful and specific that you can be with your marketing and your messaging. So as humans, we all connect with people on different fronts. How I connect with Dave, with a lot of like the natural stuff and the business stuff that we talk about is different than how I connect with Lee. But again, humans connect with on some level with something that's mutual, right? It could be kids, it could be food, it could be sports, it could be cars, etc. So my recommendation to you is as you are building up your database, and this is people that you have conversations with, if you can start to pull out like those common pieces and develop lists around those things, then doing stuff like this is easier. So as an example, if you're a hardcore Lions fan, and you run into a bunch of people that are, and that's something that you connect with, 10% of your database on, what an easy text message to send out on Sunday afternoon. Like, damn, that was a close one, but we lost again, hashtag Lion fan, right? Or something along those lines. Like list segmentation and being very, very specific and intentional with your messaging to small groups is going to outperform everything, because then people are going to feel, like it's like you're just sending that to them, if you will. You follow me, right? Like I love being marketed specifically. I hate generic marketing. This is why I don't watch regular television. I hate all of the generic ads. It drives me nuts. I don't care about all of the prescription drugs and all that. What I love is when I click on a pair of snowboard boots, then all these snowboard companies start to market to me about that. People like that type of marketing. They like to know that you're being targeted specifically. And those are easy, low-hanging fruit ways of reaching out to segments within your database.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Randy. I really appreciate it. We are absolutely going to have you back on because I think you have so much knowledge and you've been doing this for so long that I feel like you could talk for another 6 hours on this stuff. So thank you so much for joining us. Does anybody else have any quick questions? I know we're over our time, but does anybody else have any quick questions for Randy before we get off here today? And if you
Thanks,
don't-
Randy. I appreciate your time. You know what we should do is in the Rise and Grind group, we should just put together a list of 50 text messages. Like, why don't we do some research and just put it in, and we can even create a list, and that's for we just hit over 700 members in the group, and just have a list that everyone can share. And I mean, and if we come up with 4 or 5 text messages that work for everyone, I mean, it can help anyone get business. That's fantastic.
I do, I found I'm always looking on Pinterest and stuff, and I tend to save a lot of like call to action things and stuff like that. So maybe if we even did something with like text ideas, call to action ideas, like unique call to action ideas, I think that would be super cool because it's not so salesy. So I think that's a great idea. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be great to add to the group. And this was awesome. So thank you so much, Randy. And if anybody has a question, post it in the group. We are going to share this video in the group. It'll be available forever. If you want a specific question to Randy, just tag him in the post and I'm sure he'll reach out to you or send me or Leah a message and we'll get it over to Randy if you don't want to post it in the group specifically. But thank you guys all for joining us today. And we'll be back next week. We're going to have, or not next week, sorry, we're off next week because we're in Dallas for an event. The week after, though, we will have April Bradshaw back on and she's going to be talking about some social media strategy, or do you even need a strategy, which I think is going to be kind of unique and interesting. So we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. And thank you again, Randy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, guys.